All right. Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Draglist Live, where we bench race with the world's top drag racers. My name's Bill Pratt. It's great to be with you tonight, and I'm so excited returning to the show after 10 years. Dina Parisi, our dear friend, we're going to find out all about what she's been doing since her IHRA Championship back in 2015. She is the 2015 IHRA Pro Mod Champion, the first woman ever to capture that title. Unique start as a professional ice skater. We'll revisit that for folks who didn't hear about it on our first show. And of course, the Stella Pro Mod Caddy, which she is bringing back. We're so excited. Dina's one of drag racing's most inspiring competitors and ambassadors. And we're going to have a great time talking to Dina tonight. Let's go to John real quick, and then we'll get started. John, how are you, sir?
We're doing great here, BP, and howdy from Houston, everybody. Please join us on the live chat. I'll take notes and I'll pass your questions and comments along to Bill and Dina.
All right, thank you, John. And folks, click the like, the little thumbs up down there, and click the share button. Let your friends know we have Dina Parisi live. And to prove it, let's bring her in. Dina, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me back. I can't believe it's been that long, but thank you so much for having me back. I appreciate it.
It's crazy. And where are you right there? You were telling me just before the show, look at this.
Yeah, I have a little screen behind me. It's um Greenwich
Greenwich
Village.
Village, yeah, right? Where you did you
Yeah.
ever see Dylan or somebody when they were playing in the clubs there?
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, yeah, I did my share years ago of the clubbing thing. Now I can't stay up that late.
Yeah, we got it. Well, it's so great to have you back. Enjoyed, talking with you a couple times over the years since you were on. I know that when we had Annette Summer on a couple of years ago, I don't know, a couple months to a couple of years, I lose track, but you came on and ribbon here, one of your pals, and just tell us kind of, in the last 10 years, you don't have to tell us every detail, but kind of
Yeah.
how things going for Dina Parisi.
Well, yeah, it's in between that 10 years, of course, we had, the pandemic and all of that. And we wound up selling our rig and trying to acquire a new one, which we did a couple of years ago. And we've just been slowly working our way back. It's my husband and myself, basically. So
Mhm.
it's not like there's a big team or a shop behind us. So it's been a slow process. Also, we've had, life was life in there for a few years, the loss of my brother, Andrew, having some severe health problems that he's still dealing with. My dad having health problems, my mom passing away. So, life does its thing, right? So, but I think now we're kind of settled and we're able to focus a little bit more, which is good. He's still not feeling great, but this is what he really is like. Let's do it. So, here we are. We're back. And we're looking forward to it.
Well, that's great. Well, we're all waiting to get you back. You were telling me your husband was watching some of the IHRA over the weekend, and you got a mention, didn't you?
Yeah, they had mentioned Kaylee Mills had run, and then I guess they had mentioned that I was the only other female in Pro Mod in IHRA. So, and it was nice because the chat bleachers. Um, I've spent a lot of time in the chat bleachers while being off, and so some people I actually know personally, but some I just know just from seeing names back and forth. And so there were a lot of people, cheering us on, and that's probably what keeps us going the most is those people that are cheering us on.
I love it. Well, welcome back. We can't wait to see you out in the track. And and number one, I'm stealing chat bleachers. I mean, I hope that's not trademarked. I've never heard that before, but it's perfect because we have our own chat bleachers here as well. And a lot of folks will check in with John pretty soon.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
That's what it's been called over the years.
so you've had the car out testing a couple times just to see how things are going.
We did. We went out, we did some testing. We went to South Georgia. Thank you very much, Raul, and Sean. It's a great facility. And so we went there, did some testing. We have some, some things that we need to change. And if we'll get that all prepared for the next time we go out.
Sounds great. Yeah, Raul, congrats to him on getting an NHRA national event next year. And Budds Creek, 10 miles down the road for me, my buddy Royce. Should be exciting.
Yeah.
Wow. So, well, let's talk about so the people that don't know you, and we talked about the last time you were on, and you were actually got your start in ice capades. You know, you
Yeah.
for a successful stint as a professional ice skater and transition into drag racing. What was that shift like emotionally and practically? And did did you bring some of that competitiveness along with you?
I think what a lot of people don't realize is there are some similarities there. I know that sounds very strange. First of all, there is the Zamboni aspect on both
Yeah.
sides. So there's that. But, with the ice show, we traveled, we went city to city and played venues in different cities, just like we race at different tracks. And, we would have people at the stage door that would wait for autographs and pictures and things like that. And here we have the pit area
Yeah.
and it's entertainment. It's a
Mm,
show. That's
right.
that's what we do. We're entertainers. As much as we are competitors, we're entertainers. So I do feel like there is a little bit of, and I'm sure I get some of that entertainment and my craziness from my figure skating days. So, and it's funny because Andrew and I have had the conversation about that. I can feel things in the car that he's always surprised that I can feel. And I think some of it just has to do with the way my balance is and the way my body is used to reacting to things. So
Right.
it can be a curse and it can be a blessing all at the same time though.
Well, yeah, I guess you want to know rather than not know if something's happening. You want to feel that first. Your spidey senses, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about. I love that. Everybody's your nickname is Spicy Meatball. Obviously, Parisi. We know where that comes from. Tell us a little bit about that persona, and it's offered with love, of course, everybody. But you've embraced it. Where did that come from?
That's actually a chat bleacher thing, believe it or not. So I was in the chat bleachers and there was a troll in there and it was my real name. And I, I may or may not have wanted to say something without this person knowing who I was. So I just changed it to spicy. I just wrote spicy meatball, just like out of the
Yeah.
blue. And it stuck. It wasn't meant to be that way, but it wound up sticking because then the next week it was like, hey, spicy, spicy, spicy. And I'm like, wow, it stuck. How crazy is that? So they all just started calling me Spicy Meatball from there. And people would come on my social media and call me Spicy Meatball. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess there it is. I guess it's
Yeah. See, do we have that on the poster, John? We might have to, just like Scotty Cannon and the Killer Tomato, we might have to put the spice
yes. Yeah.
on. So who here is old enough to remember the old Alka-Seltzer commercial where that originated? That's some
I
spicy meatball.
sadly I am old enough to remember.
Yeah, you and me
I
too, sister. That's okay. We just got to see all the cool bands live. That was
No,
John was
exactly.
in
I was just
heaven.
talking about that. Yeah, I miss going to those concerts. I remember seeing, I'm Gen X, right? So I remember going to see Def Leppard when they opened for Billy Squier. It was their first
Wow.
tour here when they opened for Billy Squier. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, those are
Yep,
the,
I saw. We can go way back. I'm a late boomer, and but I saw Yes live, and I saw a couple years later I saw Fleetwood Mac twice on that great tour in '77. And tons. We could talk all night about that. John would have to become the host because he's our musician. But those were great days.
I agree.
Speaking of John, let's go holler at him. John, who's out there in the chat world and in our chat bleachers, I should say, now that Dina's tell us what they should be called.
Well, so far, people are just now showing up, but we have people from coast to coast. And Randy Johnston in Northern California says, good evening, everybody. Rich Panicaro in New Jersey is here. Our friend George Snizek is here, and he says, hi, Dina. He says, my favorite drag racer, always a champion.
Hey, George. There you
Uh,
go. There's an
George is my people.
Mr. Pace Automotive himself. I love it.
That's right. Well, I was going to ask, y'all were talking about the background in your uh, video window, Dina, and I missed it. What is that?
It's it's just a like a little screen, and it's Greenwich Village. It's a street in Greenwich Village.
Oh, okay.
So I asked her if she saw Dylan play there. But maybe you're
Yeah,
about
right. No, I didn't. I had a friend who toured with him, but no.
I actually got to see him a few years ago, believe it or not. I never thought I'd get to see Dylan. And at Bowling Green State in Ohio, where my daughter went to school, he was playing. And she goes, Dad, you want to see Dylan? I'm like, oh, yeah. So I drove 6 miles or 6 hours rather. And it was a good stuff.
Yeah, I have
But,
my Greenwich Village, and then I have that's Luigi.
oh, there you go. What's up with the surgical gloves? What's Luigi doing there? Is he working on an engine?
Yeah, he was working on the car. He's my extra hand if I need one.
Got it. Oh, well, thanks, John. And folks send your letters in, and we'll get it all to Dina. Well,
Okay, one more.
oh yeah, let's
Debbie
go.
Trammell showed up. She says, I'm Dina's racing buddy. And she says, hi, my friend.
Let me give you a fun, she's gonna kill me, but I'm gonna give you a fun fact about Debbie. Debbie actually has an incredible racing career behind her. And when Shirley was injured, she was Shirley's stand-in driver.
Oh
And
wow.
Mhm.
Hey,
Yeah,
Debbie, welcome. Welcome.
She won't tell you that, but I will. She actually has quite the background. It's incredible.
Amazing. We're looking to know, we were talking about some of them before the show, but so many great women drag racers, and I'm so proud to know a bunch of them, yourself included.
Thank
And of
you.
course, we were talking about our buddies Bunny and Carolyn and Annette, and
And
yeah,
Carol Long,
yeah,
yeah,
and they just the other, and of course, I'm not gonna start naming them all. Well, you know, we have the best sport for that, though. I do
yeah.
think, I think we're, you know,
And out of the
prove.
three, so but Carolyn, Carol, and Annette, and myself, we're the Babs, the BABs, we're the badass bees, all of us. That's our group name.
Amen to that. Yeah. Because a blonde bombshell says there's all kinds of things you could say that.
Yeah, let's see, we're all three blondes and a redhead.
Sounds good. Oh man, I'd be happy for any hair color these days, but I guess all good. Anyway, well, you said in the past you had an unconventional start into drag racing, kind of unorthodox. Can you elaborate on that? Tell us about your first run, how you got hooked, and kind of what challenges you faced coming into the sport. Did you get a little bit of outsider vibes from the skating world?
Well,
What was your entry in the drag racing like?
so how I came into the sport was, and I'll never forget it, it was Super Chevy back in the 90s and late 90s, I think, early 2000s. And my husband was running a 67 Camaro in super gas. It was,
Hmm.
it was blown, it was like 1100 horsepower, ran 890s in the quarter. And he had built this car, and I had been to NASCAR Truck Series, but I'd never been to a drag race.
Hmm.
So I was in my 30s, and the very first time I watched that car go down the racetrack, I was like, I got to do that. That looks like fun. And see, I have a little bit of a, craziness behind me because when I skated in the ice show, I actually did a number like they do in the circus. I hung by one wrist, 21 feet in the air,
Wow.
no, no net, no nothing. My poor,
Wow.
my poor father. And I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. So when I watched this car leave the line, I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. And not long after that, I wound up going to Frank Hawley. So,
Awesome.
and then we wound up getting the two pro mods, his and mine. So it was quite a process, and it's funny. I fell in love with the camaraderie. I fell in love with the sound, the vibe, just everything about it. There was nothing I didn't like.
It's so great. It is a great family, isn't it? I just, no matter where you go, you got friends. And
Mhm.
in California, there's your buddies. You go to, go up to New York, Pennsylvania, there's your buddies, And I love New Jersey and New York folks. We just, from back in the Division One days, back in the olden days, when MIR was an NHRA track way back in the late 90s, we got to meet all those folks, and I guess it's coming back. So got to meet all my
I
English
never
town
been
pals.
to the Empire. I've been to Lebanon Valley,
Hmm.
and that was great. And they have the dirt track next door, so that was a lot of fun. But I've actually never been to Empire.
Oh, it's good stuff up there. Everywhere you go. But English Town was our jam. Did you ever spend time there?
I did. I did. Yeah, I actually ran NHRA Pro Mod. Um, when right, that was like when Burgess first brought it back to
Right,
NHRA,
right.
and it was I. This is how, unfortunately, how I remember it because my parents had not really been to many races. And my mom wasn't so nervous because I think I get my adrenaline junkiness from her. But my dad, very nervous. And it was the weekend that Neil Parker passed.
Oh no. Yeah,
So we were trying to kind of keep it from him somehow, but it didn't work. So
right.
that was difficult. But I think that was one of the last times that we ran there.
Yeah, gosh, that was a great guy. I knew Neil.
Yeah.
He raced here at Budds Creek. I saw him up there all the time. Saw him at Norwalk, when they would yeah, but he got
Yeah. Shame.
it happens. Well, let's talk about that car. Let's talk about Stella and kind of your Pro Mod Cadillac, one of a kind named Stella.
Yeah.
Pretty legendary now. Tell us how the name came about and tell us a little bit more about the car.
So first, she was built by Rob Matthias Race Cars. Thank you very much, Rob, because it's a great piece. He builds an incredible car. Um, so Stella got her name. It was red. In my mind, it was red. We hadn't painted it yet, obviously. And every like Italian from New York needs a 3,000 horsepower Cadillac, right? I mean, come on. So my grandmother's name was Stella. Now, don't ask me why it was the red and the Italian and the Cadillac. It went all together for me because she was a redhead.
Mhm.
And so it made sense in my head, maybe not when it comes out of my mouth, I'm not sure. And she never had a license. So I'm not quite sure how she feels about that. Yeah. Never drove a car ever. So, but I just felt like the name was perfect for the car. If you're from New York and you're Italian, you know the importance of a Cadillac.
Okay, got it. Well, you could also call it Nona's Nightmare, though. They did.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm Polish and Lebanese of all things, if you can imagine that. But my aunt came from Sicily, and all my first cousins are Italian from Cleveland. So yeah, I'd love. Of course I love the food, but I love the people, and it's still to this day, it's just nothing but a big party. Let me put it this way: I'd go to a wedding when I was a kid. I was the only natural blonde in the place, but of all the men and women,
I believe it. I
but
believe
but man, nobody parties like, and and of course now my first cousin is my age, a little younger, but his son just got married, and we just went up there last year or this earlier this year and had a big old wedding. You can't beat a big old Italian wedding, from
There's
the inner
nothing
city.
like an Italian wedding or an Italian party. Yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely know how to hit it out of the park for sure.
Well, how do you it's you and your husband at the races, so kind of how do you pull help along? Do people volunteer to come out there and help you guys, or how's
So
that work?
yeah, we have Dave Jordan has been with us since the beginning. So 20 years. Dave's been helping us and he's fantastic. And And we have some other people along the way, like our friend Jody, he'll come and help us. We've already talked to him. And so, yeah, we have people that are nice enough to come and help us. When we ran two cars, it was my husband and two other guys, three tops, but my husband and two other guys for two cars.
Wow.
So we're pretty used to getting along with a skeleton crew. But I mean, look at Ricky Smith, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That,
him and Chad Hester for the last,
yeah.
I don't know what, 15, 20 years. So
Yeah.
it can be done, and there is part of me that feels like a lot of people is too much. Everybody has like their jobs to do, and we've created a little sign-off sheet, and so that we make sure that everything gets completed. And so we're pretty organized, and I call it's a very kind of well choreographed ballet at the end of the day. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And speaking of the car though, I mean, as you brought the car out and then doing a little bit of testing, so how are you pretty much within cert after, 6 or 7 years where you haven't run consistently? Are there some adjustments that have to be made to the machine? I mean, in terms of roll cage or anything like that?
Well, oddly enough, so it's been a few years and my body has changed a little bit. So that changed some of the ergonomics inside of the car. So we've changed some things more for a comfortability factor. And
Mhm.
now it's just a matter of, getting my pattern down again. I'm a very regimented person, very type A, a little on the OCD side, so I've been told, but no formal diagnosis there, just saying. But I am very regimented, so I kind of do things the same way each time. So I just kind of need to get back into that rhythm.
Oh, it sounds great. I guess, and with so few folks and driving such a high horsepower car so fast, and traveling all over the place to do it, I mean, you kind of have to be there because, it's full of mechanical surprises, funding pressures, travel logistics, competition. So is that your kind of how you get through all of that just by having an internal mental checklist you do, or
Yeah.
any other coping strategies?
Yeah, well, our maiden voyage of our rig that's new to us, not new, but new to us, was eventful. There was a
I
lot
love
that
these
went
stories.
on. Air hoses coming off. This happened, that happened. A 4-hour ride took 11
Wow.
because we ran into some issues. We seem to have everything, you know, good to go now because we made it back fine. But so there's the stress of that you have to be able to put behind you. Um, and everything was just a little bit new for us too. It wasn't the way that we were used to traveling. It was just a lot of these little things that I just need to get used to. It's kind of, it's like a suck it up buttercup kind of moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just you got to just suck it up and go with it. So
You in or you out? What, how you gonna do this or not?
exactly, exactly right.
Are you? I kind of know you were like from New York originally. But are you there? Or I may have some mistakes in my drag list because I was looking at your stats earlier tonight that we have for you, and it had like Pennsylvania for the last couple of years. Did you move there or?
So we moved from New York to Pennsylvania. We were there for a couple of years, and then we moved to Georgia. So we're
Okay.
currently in Georgia. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Been
good.
here
Well,
for about we've been here for about 8 years now. So
oh,
it's
no kidding.
it's
Okay.
been a minute, yeah.
Okay, well, good. Well, we'll make the updates to the drag lists, of course. And
And our shop was
or-
20 minutes from Commerce, and then they closed Commerce. So, you
yeah.
know,
Oh my gosh. I used to
yeah.
put races down at Ware Shoals in the early 2000s. Do you know where that is? It's just north east of Commerce, maybe an hour, maybe a little more.
Oh, okay. No, haven't been there.
Yeah, it's a great little track, and we mistakenly put a rain date right on top of a Commerce Super Chevy once. We're not thinking, we just quickly grabbed a rain date and said, let's use it. Ask me how that worked out for us.
Oh no.
We
Yeah.
ended up going to, I think we ended up going to the Sunday at the Super Chevy just to say hello. It's all good. Well, let's see where we are. John, let's check in with John and our chat bleachers and see who else is out there and what they have to say.
Yeah, we've had some more people show up. Rob McCabe showed up with us. He says good evening, and he he had a comment. He says, "I am Italian and born in Westchester County, New York." And he said, even though I never had caddies in my life, I knew people who did. And I answered him and I said, I bought a 65 Fleetwood, had it about a week, and I sold it back to the guy I bought it from. He missed having it. It was a 20-foot long behemoth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I, I just did it more or less as a favor to him. And then he called me and he said, "Oh, I missed my car." I said, "You can have it back, man, no problem." So we took care of that deal. And Rich Panicaro said he remembers seeing you race at E-Town. And Rob McCabe said, same here, and same here. He said it was Dina and Andrew that he saw race.
Oh.
Mhm.
And George Snizik had a question. He said, when will I see Dina out with a new racer?
Thank you, George. There you go, Dina. There's a question from Mr. Pacers Automotive.
Yeah, we're working on 2026. So that's where we're at. Where I'm thankful because we have the support of some companies that we had previously worked with that we're starting to work together again. Hussey Performance, Speedwire Systems, and DMPE, Darren Mayer. And this year we've picked up a couple along the way. So X1 connecting rods and Star Racer belts, tub of towels, if anybody. Their products are amazing. I use them in my house. I use them in the shop. I love their stuff.
Oh, that's
And then
great.
on Riva, the toolbox foam, they've been pretty good to us. We've gotten a little bit of product from them. So all these companies, it's nice that even though we've been gone for a minute, that we have the support from them. I'm very appreciative, and we love them because we love their products, and we're happy that, and I'm honored that I can represent them again.
No, that's fantastic. Well, looking forward to getting you back out there. Thanks, George. And John, anybody else on another thought?
Yes, Ford Purley showed up. Good evening, Ford. And Debbie Trammell said, thank you, Dina, for all your safety updates and support.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah,
welcome.
one of my focuses that I have kind of made an initiative for myself is education. I like educating people, and I like to be a little fun about it, not like the teacher, but educating people about our sport, about what goes on in our sport, about how important our safety equipment is, or even just for the car, for the person, how the car works. And I like to say it in a way where it will bring, where I can kind of entertain people who are not involved in the sport or know anything about the sport, and hopefully I can get them to be interested in it. And what's funny is I have some of my figure skating friends that said, "God, I would never have watched drag racing," and they're like, really kind of cool. So it's bringing more people to the sport. That's really short and long of it.
That's awesome. I love it. And our friend Rob McCabe, who was John was mentioning a couple minutes ago, he keeps our stats now on Draglist. He goes out there and travels around and digs them out of the web and digs them out of the magazines. And he was up at Lebanon Valley Dragway this last weekend. They had a cool nostalgia race with some funny cars and stuff. So, and he put a very cool story up on the front page. So thank you, Rob. And so, yeah, we got all of our bleacher rats, our chat rats here are involved in some way in drag racing themselves, which is really great. Um, John, anybody else with a thought?
We are caught up for the moment.
Love it. Thank you. Well, let's say this once again. The 2015 IHRA Pro Mod World Champion with us tonight, Dina Parisi. And you were the first female to hold that title in IHRA. In fact, the first female, as we were saying, the first woman to drive Pro Mod.
Yeah.
What stands out from that great year? And again, that was we got to talk to you right after you won that championship. In January 4th, 2016. It's the last time we had you on. Actually, I don't think we even did video back then. But like can you walk us through that year as much as you remember, like the turning points, the key races, how you felt when you clinched it?
So IHRA Pro Mod, what was had just they had just come back again, right? And so our turnout was not tremendous, but we had some great racing. Um, friend Bill Lutz. It was Bill Lutz and myself that were number one and number two, and it came down to the last race. Matter of fact, it came down to like one of the last runs. I ran Robert Patrick
Hmm.
and the Pedal Fest, and I wound up beating him in this Pedal Fest, and then we waited on top end because the points at that point were so close. And I believe Bill didn't make it down the racetrack. So it kind of that clinched the championship for us. It was such a great season. We had so much fun. We made so many friends that I don't know that we would have made before. And then we had some people like John Montecalvo. He runs Mountain Motor Pro Stock, and he's
Right.
local. He's from right by us. So it was nice to have that little down home feeling too, with all the traveling that we were doing. It was a fantastic, fantastic. It was a great show. The stands were always packed.
Hmm.
Um, it was we had a lot of fun, and we dug in all year. And I at 131 I overshot a little bit because I went into the sand. I went to the beach, and I say we like I have a mouse in my pocket. It was my husband. Um, Duct taped the front of the car, found some nice red duct tape that matched. And we weren't going to go to the next race. And we were like, well, where we were at in the points, we said we just have to try and go. And we did. And,
Right.
it was a lot of hard work, but, in the end, we came out victorious. So that was kind of cool.
That's fantastic. Yeah, who knew there were beaches in Martin, Michigan? That's
Yeah,
pretty.
who knew? Who knew?
And our buddy John Montecalvo, who I've known for years, raced in Mountain Motor Pro Mod here. We used to have him at Budds Creek all the time for the US or the Mountain Motor Nationals, and of course all the IHRA races and stuff. And he just won again, I believe, yesterday. Did
He
he not? We
did. He
just
did. He won this weekend. Yep.
congrats to John, our good old friend. And wow, just it's amazing. It's again, we go back to the family. It's all a big old family, and it's great to have folks. Like he was in what, Center Moriches? How do you say that?
Santa
Is that
Maria. Yeah. Yeah. He is from Santa Maria.
so cool? Well, you said you're talking about women, and I think in racing, in drag racing especially, it's although Annette had some challenges in her career. I don't know if you've
She
ever
did.
had
She did.
guys get in trouble, but you say that the car doesn't know your gender, and
I mean,
tell
it's
us.
true. Yeah. You know what? 20 years ago, I had a couple of, kind of toe-to-toe encounters, shall we say. I say toe-to-toe because with most of these guys, I come up to like here on
Yeah,
them.
you have to be on
So
tippy toes.
I'm only 5 feet tall. So, um, and I did have some encounters, and it's funny because people like, oh, does your husband take up for you? I'm like, nope. Nope. If I have something to say, I go ahead and say it. He doesn't get involved. It's not his thing. But I think we proved ourselves after a while, both my husband and myself. But being a woman, they still want to be able to ride you a little bit. What's funny though is now I don't feel like that happens so much at the track.
Mhm.
But it does happen on social media.
Yeah.
So there's
Well,
that. And
it,
I categorize it as this, it's some dude or dudette, I don't know, like eating Fruit Loops in their underwear in the mother's basement. Like if you're not out there doing anything, so just
That's
I,
right.
I love when people ask questions, and I don't mind people come at me with crazy comments. I won't fight with people. I'll actually try to explain things to them in a nice way because to me, fighting with people on the internet is crazy. I don't see the
Yeah.
point in.
Yeah, the keyboard warriors. You get to hide behind this, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. We've seen our share of that over years, but you know what? As someone said this recently, and I've heard it in the past, but no one ever let's see, how's this thing go? But no one ever gives you crap if they're like above you, right? The only time that, the only time they hate, that's right, the haters, like nobody ever hates downward, right? Why would because they're doing their thing and doing well, right? So that's
And if your
some
name is coming out of somebody's mouth, it just means you're still relevant. So that's good for you, you know? It goes back to that any publicity is good publicity
right.
thing,
Yeah,
right? Whatever.
yeah,
Just take it for what it's worth.
just make sure to spell the name right. That's all, right?
Exactly.
Well, so you mentioned some of your sponsors, and it's really great. But I do love what you said. And it's several years ago, but you were saying, sponsorships more than just slapping decals on the side of the car, and it's really, really do have kind of a partnership with your friends, and it's folks you know and like, right? And use their stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely products that we use, people that we want to be aligned with, but there also is you know, creating relationships with the companies themselves so that, we know what they want from us and
Mhm.
then we know what they need. It's about what they need. It's not about me.
Right.
It's about what they need to highlight their product. And then the flip side of that is I choose to, like on my social media, I like to create a community with the people that are on my social media
Mhm.
because that's their potential customers. And I want them to be able to trust me. And I really have we've promoted things that we've utilized over the years. So I just think all around it's about creating community and creating the relationships.
Yeah, that's really great. I know that the social media it sounds like you're right up on top of it, but it's much different than it was 10 years ago, even then, right? Which holy cow, I guess we've been on the internet about 20 years now. We came out in 96, believe it or not, on the internet. But it's changing markedly, especially social media, which everybody's walking around with it. So, how do you find that? I guess you're on top of it, but I mean, how do you like social media content creation to some extent, fan engagement? Sounds like you're knocking it out of the park. Is it more difficult now, or in what ways different than it was 10 years ago when you won the
For me,
championship?
I think it's going to be a lot more fun once we're out at the racetrack again.
Hmm.
For now, and people love behind the scenes, so I'm able to give them some perspective on that. But I do feel like is it more difficult? Yes. And that just goes down to things like the reach is more difficult, like that kind of thing. But content creation is a lot of fun, and I'm Gen X, so Gen X is a big thing now, on social media. There's a lot of Gen Xers that are all, we're all kind of rooting for each other, which is fantastic. We're the, I'm 58, so we're the, 50 something year olds that, still think that we're teenagers. So
Heck yeah.
my body may not agree, but we still think that. So
Us mid to older 60s, and some of us in the 70s still feel the same way, don't I'm a late boomer. John's a right middle of the pack boomer, but I just squeaked in. But I love it though. We're as long as Keith Richards and Mick Jagger are walking around, we can be kids the rest of our lives.
right.
There's
Keith Richards gonna outlive all of us, I'm convinced.
yeah. Well, so welcome back, IHRA. Tell us about your impressions of that. So kind of been reborn, new ownership, track acquisitions, big plant, and literally running, full events and doing a good job. I guess is that what you're targeting when you come back, Dina?
Yeah, for sure. Daryl Cuddle is killing it. I mean, killing it. And we would love to have been there from day one. It just wasn't going to happen,
Mhm.
unfortunately. You know, we we so badly wanted to go back to IHRA because we felt like we really had a home there previously in 2015. So, and we've talked to a lot of racers and some fans, and people are there's just a great buzz about it. I think the trajectory is just going to just keep going up, up, up. I really don't see failure there. I their broadcast is great. Their interviews, people are getting to know the drivers. That's the one thing I feel like sometimes we lack that a little bit is really getting to know the drivers,
Hmm.
um, and getting to know their backgrounds or and a lot of people knew that like I was a figure skater or people who came from a totally different sport or something like that. I think highlighting the drivers and doing stories on them is great because now people they're not going to relate to a machine.
Right.
But they are going to relate to a person, and I think you're going to create a great fan base that way. And I'm so excited. I'm excited about it, and I'm excited that the racers have had nothing but good things to say about it. So
Yeah, it's really great. I heard nothing but good stuff. And my old buddy Ken Stout on the microphone, we used to announce together the shows at Budds Creek back in, yikes, the
yeah,
90s, or
yes,
maybe even late 80s, early 90s. So he sounds the same. He's rocking it.
yes, he does. He sounds great.
Well, let's take so that's really exciting. We know you're targeting 26, but given all your experience, like what's next for Dina Parisi? Are there, I guess you're going to stay in pro mod, but maybe what might happen in the future? Tell us what you see for the next several years.
Well, I think what is next right now is we're kind of in the midst of this rebirth of our team, you
Hmm.
know, and that's really what I'd like to focus on is, getting the car running well, getting the team aligned, getting everybody on the same page and being competitive. So, in the past, what we had done was, we did a lot of testing before we went out because we want to be sure that we have our footing before we go out and compete. So I think that's my focus right now is that. And
Hmm.
and encouraging, aside from that, would even off the track would be encouraging the younger set to be interested and want to be involved because that's the next the up and coming the young kids, so I want to encourage them to enjoy it and participate.
I love it. Yeah, I know you're one thing I wanted to get in here. I love this quote of yours. One, you only get a life, you get one ticket, and you're using yours until it expires. It sounds like.
Yes, sir. And that is I stand by that. I'm using mine till it expires, and come hell or high water we're going to get it done. So
I love it. Well, Dina, where can folks follow along with your journey? How can they find you online and support you?
yeah, I mean, you can find me anywhere. Of course, the website, dinaparisiventures.com. If you just probably Google Dina Parisi, and it's Parisi with an E, not an I.
Yeah,
You can find Insta, Facebook, TikTok. And my TikTok is always the one that's a little bit different than the others. So there's there's always some goofy stuff on there. It's a lot of fun. And I'm getting my YouTube back going now too because there was just I just kind of stalled everything. I think I just got frustrated being off the track for so long, but now we have things to look forward to, and we'll be doing some updates on the website finally. The website's there and it's up. I have a newsletter on the website. So, and I usually do like once a month a newsletter. So if anyone wants to sign up for that, feel free.
awesome.
And and when you see me on social media, it's always me. There's no like, it's not like Oz. There's no man behind the curtain or anything. It's me.
Awesome. You know what I forgot to do is go over to John and our chat bleachers one more time. So, John, any final thoughts from the folks out there?
Yeah, we've had a few comments, and George Snizik thanks Bill and John for having Dina on the show tonight. And Pete Moriello in Los Angeles said, "Chat rat? Well, I never." And Ford Purley made a good point, Dina. He said, "You are being too humble." He said, "The IHRA Pro Mod has always been contested intensely."
Mhm.
And I told him that was a good point. And Debbie Trammell uh, just had one comment, and she said, "Next world champion."
Hey, I love it. Guys and gals out there, thank you so much for the comments tonight. And Dina Parisi, thank you so much. 10 years since your last world championship, and now that you're back, I know you'll be in the thick of it. Looking forward to following along, and it's been lovely to see you again. And
Thank you so much.
have an awesome, awesome rest of the year, a great holiday season, and we'll catch you somewhere down the road.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the support because that's what keeps us going. So thank you.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2015 IHRA Pro Mod World Champion, Dina Parisi. See you later, my friend. We'll say farewell to Dina, and let's turn it over to John for this week's JB's Take and his Racer of the Week. John, take it away.
Thanks, Bill. My pick for Racer of the Week is Tua Korat Sornpanya of the Hippo Garage, which is located in Kham Thale So Nakhon Ratchasima District, Thailand. It's an honor to feature him tonight. Drag racing in Thailand is a totally mind-blowing experience. The hundreds of racers there are hardcore and dedicated to as anything I've ever seen. A drag racing event in Thailand rivals an American spectacle such as a top-level rock concert. They don't mess around. It's a fantastic show. The cars they run are mostly Asian market turbo-powered modified cars, and they fly. American-powered cars are rare, but they have some and they run well. The top fuel dragsters that I've seen are turbo diesel powered, and they put on a fantastic show. If I had a choice of another country to race in other than America, I'd choose Thailand in a heartbeat. Tua Korat is a master tuner, fabricator, and racer. He's been at it for decades. His first win was at the age of 17 in 2007 with his Volvo 244 at Kiangkan Thai Air Force Base. His Hippo Garage is a high-performance shop, and most, if not all, of the racers that are running and winning in Thailand have been supplied or tuned by Tua Korat. He runs a top-flight operation, and his presence at all events assures the racers of a competitive advantage. He's just that good. He keeps winning, and he is probably the most well-known hot rod entrepreneur in the Far East. Virtually all the drag racers in Thailand know and respect Tua Korat Sornpanya, and that includes New Zealand. He has friends there too as well. Well, Tua Korat, thank you for accepting my offer to be a Racer of the Week. Your feature is very well deserved. We wish you good luck, safe racing, and the best of times in the future. My son Nick's band, Chironex, started their Southern Descent tour tonight with special guest Dreadland from Dallas. They're playing 5 cities across the South in 5 days, and they'll be back in Houston on Friday at the October the 3rd. I can't say enough good things about Chironex. They're as good as it gets, and they have more than 1,000 followers and fans. I was blown away by the size and unity of their fans. I'm very proud of Nick and his bandmates. I'm wishing them a safe and successful tour. Also, I'm sending my best wishes to my wife, Debbie, who is having a serious bronchial issue right now. I love you, babe. Everybody stay safe and well. You are the most important part of this show, and we love you all. It's a great way to spend an hour together on a Monday night. And we'll see you all next time. God bless America. Back to you, Bill.
Thank you, John. Wow, man, I just changed my background the last second. I almost forgot to do it again this week. This week. I don't know. My by John, Bill, and Danny always on our background here. So let's talk about a couple of races. One that didn't go off, and I'm really disappointed about that. The Superchargers Showdown, along with the Burnouts for Bunny and Bear event, was rained out this past Saturday at Budds Creek. It was misty and nasty, and the weather was, it was a 90% chance of rain, and it actually did come down. Unfortunately, I mean, it didn't help anybody's spirits that both Friday and Sunday were gorgeous, just Chamber of Commerce weather with beautiful sunshine and cool temps in the evenings. And the weather gods kind of suck, but they're screwing over Royce a little bit. But we hope to see everybody somewhere soon. We're looking forward to seeing our friends from, of course, the Nostalgia Funny Car Tour, all of our friends and family there. We are looking forward to seeing all the folks from the East Coast Fuel circuit, that all those great dragsters and altereds that we feature up here quite a lot. So sorry to miss everybody. I can tell you though, next weekend, the Nostalgia Alcohol Funny Car teams will be down at Virginia Motorsports Park. So if you're down near Dinwiddie, Virginia, around about Richmond, they will be featured down in VMP. But sorry we missed everybody this last weekend. And I do want to mention once again that the USA1 Drag Fest is coming up to Bruce Larson's house up in Dauphine, Pennsylvania, near Harrisburg. That's October 18th, 2025. I've got the flyer and all the info up on the front page of Draglist, but we will definitely see you up there. And gosh, I'd love to go out to the California Hot Rod reunion a week later, or is it a week? I think it's a week later. So gotta look at the calendar and see if we can make seven. They might. I don't know if there's any room for me left. Pete Garamone, save me a room there, buddy. Well, let's talk about some upcoming guests. Thanks to Miss K and Mr. Pete. Next Monday night, we got De Gallegos, the Nitro Climb Nostalgia Funny Car. Looking forward to talking with Dave. And then another funny car racer on the 13th, Steve Macklin, who's raced fuel and alcohol funny cars over the years. Looking forward to talking to Steve. On the 20th of October, we have Kai Michelson, the Rocket Man returns. He joins us once again. We've had him on several years ago. But we'd love to talk to Kai. He's one of the fastest cars in the history of the world. It was built by him, and then he's put a rocket in just about everything else too. The Rocket Man, no two ways about it. On the 27th of October, we have Christine Foster from the Foster Racing Top Alcohol Funny Car Team. And moving into November, the 3rd, Andy Morocco, who runs the Street Legal Drags out in California. We'll find out all about that. Sounds pretty cool. And Paul Conlon, the Boston Monkey himself, coming up on November 10th. Met Paul way back in 2002 at the first Funny Car reunion at Englishtown, New Jersey. And of course, just this last weekend, Rob McCabe was up there to see Paul racing the Boston Monkey and doing very well at Lebanon Valley Raceway. And of course, we see Paul a couple times a year as he races that top alcohol funny car. So good stuff coming up. Thanks to Kay Turkelson. Thanks to Pete Moriello for getting us these awesome guests. We are looking for dates. I mapped out the rest of the year. So between John and Kay and myself and Pete, we're looking for folks for the end of November. We're looking for almost every weekend in December. Probably take the 22nd off. But the 29th, we may have a show there. That's kind of, we'll squeeze something between Christmas and New Year's. And then all of January, we want to fill every one of those Monday nights. So lots and lots of good stuff coming up. Kay is on it, and so is Pete, and so is John, and so is BP. Let's go on to those we lost, folks. Only one name to mention this week, and that is stock and super stock racer Bill Owen. Bill loved racing, was passionate about his career. In 2009, he was inducted into the Michigan Motorsports Hall of Fame. Bill was one of those great Detroit guys. He retired as a project engineer at General Motors. But Bill Owen, just one of the backbones of the sport. Farewell to you, sir, and our condolences to your family and many friends. And of course, thanks for the thrills over the year. So with that, I think we're close to calling it a wrap. John, any final thoughts on our great show with Dina Parisi?
Yeah. Man, it was just great having Dina with us tonight. She is just a wonderful person, aside from being a champion drag racer. You know, she has a terrific personality, and I enjoyed her interview very much. And I wish her the best. I know she's had a few things happen over the last 10 years that were difficult to deal with, and I can certainly relate to all that, and so can you, Bill.
Mhm.
Uh, but no, she came through like a champ, like she always has. And we wish her the best in the future. I'm looking forward to having the Nitro Clown with us next week, man. Those guys are so cool.
Yeah.
And who got them? Was that Pete that got them for us?
This was Miss K, I think,
It
but
was Miss K.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do with that poster and given their sort of vibe. That sounds pretty cool.
Well, the graphics are done all the way up until November the 10th
Woohoo.
with Paul Conlon, and
Wow.
Paul sent me some pictures to add to his graphics, so I've been working on getting all that together. And yeah, I mean, we have races of the week, we have the history of drag racing picture of the week, and we have our guests, and the show's just going great guns, man. I'm happy.
I'm a lucky man. All these great people doing all this hard work, and I just show up and run my mouth on a Monday night. That's how I wanted my retirement to be. So thank you, John, so much. And folks, let's do thank Dina Parisi, who was just delightful. What a fun person to talk to. Can't wait to see her in person. John Bachman, of course, my brother, Kate Turkelson, Pete Moriello, Rob McCabe on the track and behind the computer taking care of us. David Oakes with the great photos. Mel Bashur and Ron Toombs and John Mernon with the terrific updates to the drag racing list. Of course, Jeff Gilder from Zeus Digital Marketing. Of course, thanks in heaven to the man himself, Danny White, who worked for us for so many years to make this stuff successful. Folks, click the like, the share down below. And by the way, the little Draglist logo in the bottom there will let you subscribe to the channel. And I hope you do. And by the way, now that Dina's coming back, we will go find her channel and subscribe to that here on YouTube. And we'll follow our friend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Check in on draglist.com every day to see what's new. Right now, up there, we got Rob McCabe's terrific photo and story of the big funny car race last weekend at Lebanon Valley Raceway. And we, of course, we got the NHRA stats up there as well. Also find us on the Radio Bob Network. We threw something on our Facebook page. So Radio Bob is doing really good. He's got a bunch of great music, a bunch of great motorsports content, and he replays our show on his internet radio station, which is very, very cool. Thank you, Bob. And finally, before we say farewell, we will see you next Monday night for De Gallegos and the Nitro Clown. So until then, my name's Bill. On behalf of John and everybody else, have an awesome, awesome week.